Hello, lovely friends, and welcome to the Power Posse Podcast. I'm Kristin.
I'm Stacie.
And I'm Ann.
And this is the space where women come together to power up, speak truth, and embrace every damn season of life with courage, connection, and a healthy dose of sass. We chat,
We laugh.
We cry.
and we kiss some shit goodbye.
Every
And we
month.
invite you to do it with us.
That's right.
Right here with your Power Posse.
That's right. Thank you, Kristin. Every month, we dive into real conversations with phenomenal women who've had what we lovingly call a spark moment. That defining, catalytic, awakening moment where everything shifted. Maybe it came in a whisper, or maybe it knocked the damn door down.
Yeah, this is your safe space. No topic is off limits. No emotion is too big or too small. This is where you own your power and find your posse. Let's get into it today.
Yes. So we're doing things a little bit different today, kind of an off-the-cuff session, if you will. The posse and I were together a week ago talking about guests for our show. And as we tend to do, we got off on a totally different topic. And one of the things that we were talking about are things that people say to you. So we talked specifically about what has someone said to you that has stuck with you in your subconscious and or your conscience that has shaped what you believe about yourself that you are trying to overcome or have overcome. So it could be a comment, it could be a criticism, a label, a nickname. So we're going to kind of talk about those today, and we're going to discuss what it is that we have heard that has impacted us. And we'll talk about it a little bit more at the end as well, but I'm going to just give you a little encouragement right now to hop onto our socials and go ahead and comment on our socials as well as to something that you have heard that has impacted you either positively or negatively, because going forward, we're also going to be sharing what some of the things are that our listeners told us and really diving deep into that. So let's kick it off, girls. Who wants to kind of start with some of the things that have impacted them and what they've been said? Maybe we'll just kind of share some of the ones that have impacted us in one way or another and then dive into it.
Yeah. Who wants to go?
I can
Do you want to
start?
go, girl?
Yeah,
Yep.
go for it.
I was telling the girls about this one. When I was in, it was junior high, I guess, 7th, 8th, 9th grade, something like that.
Yeah.
I was walking down the stairs at school, and a certain boy who was always on my case said, "Well, hi, fruit basket." And I was a little shocked, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" Apparently, my posture is too good. And he was implying that I was sticking my boobs out, which when you're in junior high, that's devastating for someone
So
to comment on, right?
self-conscious. Yes.
And that has always stuck with me. So I think about my posture all the time. I try not to have too good posture, which is ridiculous because why wouldn't I have good posture if that's the way I naturally stand or walk or whatever? But yeah, that just made me so self-conscious and has stuck with me. And it doesn't sound like a big deal, but it is, because the way we move, the way our body moves through the world is so important, and it says a lot about how we feel about ourselves. And it's a first impression kind of thing to other people. It's how we feel. It's, I don't know. I just think that any comments about your body when you're that specific age, especially, it was devastating.
Yeah.
And it's so gross. I mean, my daughter had something like that happen to her in high school with this boy who was a strange little duck to begin with. But I found out about it when she was getting close to graduation. And I think if I would have known about it earlier, I probably would have smacked him upside the head.
Addressed it.
Yeah, because he had his computer, his laptop taken away because in junior high, okay, so now we're talking senior high, because he was looking up porn in class. And he just went up to her one day and he asked her if her breasts were real and if he could touch them.
Wow.
And she was 15 or 16 years old. Yeah, and she's like, first of all, yes. Like who has their boobs done at 15 or 16, which is a totally different story. But I just remember like for the remaining years of school, when she was there, she like would avoid this boy. If she went to a dance and he would see her and come up to her, I would get a text from her that she was like hiding in the hallway because the door had been unlocked, sitting in the dark, asking if I would come and pick her up because he made her so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Wow. And I'm sure to this day it still bothers her. She just doesn't really wear anything that's ever like tight on top or anything like that. And I'm sure if I asked her, she would maybe be like, oh, yeah, maybe it likens back to that comment. Or maybe, you know, again, subconsciously, like we talked about, she doesn't even think about why it is that she does that.
Yep.
But yeah. And can I also just say, too, that one of the things that drives me crazy when young men say things like that is when people go, they like you. They like you.
Right.
They're saying it because they like you.
Yeah, they say
What
it
are
'cause
we
they
telling
like you.
girls when we say something like that?
Or they
If
hit you because they like
you. If that person
you.
is treating you poorly, it means they like you.
Yeah.
Or they're objectifying you, or you know, focusing only on one part of you, a body part.
Yes.
You know, and like that's well, you should be glad that they're you know, that kind of thing. Or the other one I was like, oh, but they're just kidding. It's so, it just dismisses it. It's like this, it's so terrible. And it's like, it doesn't matter if they think they're kidding. We also have to think about the impact it has on the person we're saying it to that's hearing it, and the people around them that are hearing it. Because, our words matter.
Oh, yeah. Or if they pull your hair or push you, they like you. Well, so that's teaching me then that if someone likes me, that means that they can physically hurt me.
Yeah.
No.
Pick on me, harm me, criticize me.
And I don't have a voice in
that's
speaking up. That's not love. That's not caring about someone.
That's not affection. That's not care.
Yep.
That's not.
And I understand the whole, you know, if someone is awkward, especially when you're a child or a teenager or something. If
Huge
you're awkward
difference.
and you don't know what to say, you might say something. But how about we teach our kids to say kind things to people if they are feeling awkward and don't know what to say? Why does it have to be something negative or something about how someone looks or how someone's acting? Or
it's a judgment or a criticism or an evaluation, right? That comes like it's looking down on or something like that, or giving you a score,
right?
You know, that kind of thing. That's
a whole
just
other thing that's done,
rather than positive. And then, like you said, if you're awkward and you do screw up, because we do, right? And we say things like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. And the reason sometimes we realize that because we're looking at the other person and we watch how they respond, and we care about how it affects them. And we look at the response, and then we go, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that, or I didn't realize that would hurt you, or that was harmful, and then
that was clumsy of me.
That was clumsy of me. We apologize. We work to understand how it affected them, and then we try to make it right. You know, we make amends for it.
Because there are those comments like what we're talking about that stick with you forever.
They do.
It doesn't matter if you knew that someone was joking or you thought, oh, well, you know, he was just awkward. He didn't know what to say, or you know, it still sticks with you, and it still affects you, and you still get triggered by it, I guess. And I know triggered is a strange word.
It comes to the surface, right?
Yeah, it does.
Or you hear the voice in your head whispering it, and you're like, oh, damn. I don't, you know.
Yep.
Yeah, and why just kids too? Like as adults, I mean, I don't understand. If you're an adult, you're supposed to have more control of what comes out of your mouth. So the fact that people purposely will say things to you that makes you kind of think to yourself, as an adult, is that a kind or necessary thing to say? And if it's not, why is it that you feel so empowered to say those things to me? You know, a comment on, you know, what you're wearing, or a comment on how you look, or something along those lines. Like, I don't feel like, unless it's something positive or kind, why do you feel the need to say things like that. And I think it comes down to people who are bullies in a way. And, you know, the excuse usually is, well, that's just them. And you're supposed to laugh it off. And it's like, but that's how abuse gets normalized. That's how bullies get normalized, when people don't say, but that's not okay.
Yep.
You know, that hurt my feelings, and you should be aware of the fact that that hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
You know, rather than it's like you're the person who's in the wrong because you don't get the joke. Well, I am the joke, or you're just speaking to make me feel badly. So it's it doesn't go away. It's ridiculous. And people need to do better.
Yeah. And we can say, you know, oh, well, we should be teaching ourselves, teaching our children, whatever, to not be affected, to not have their feelings
tough,
hurt by someone who doesn't.
Yeah.
Well, but in some ways, it's not just being tough. It's also saying, you know what, I don't need to be affected by something some random Chad said in junior high.
Random
You used
Chad.
cool lingo.
Of course, I know.
What was his
so cool.
name? Do you remember?
Chad.
His name was Chad?
His name actually was Chad.
You know what, Chad? I hope that you were a better individual than you were back then. I hope that you have grown and
grew
learned,
up
and
and
that you have a
learned
daughter and you
care.
have figured out that you need to keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
You need to go on our socials and apologize, Chad. Chadwick.
But I do
Yes.
think that, you know, it is something that I'm much better myself at just saying, that's not on me. That person said something, and that's on them. That isn't even about me.
Yeah.
But there are certain ages where we either haven't learned that yet, or it's just, you know, our hormones and our development, our actual, you know, body and brain development isn't there yet.
Yeah.
Where you can do that.
Yep.
And we definitely can logically address it, like you're saying. I'm like, I know that that's not true, but it still hurts. It still affects us, and like we're saying, and it still like comes out of nowhere sometimes, and then we have to address it again. No, that's not true about me. I know that that's not true. I think the other one people do sometimes is too, they're like, well, you're just being too sensitive, or I didn't intend. So then intention, it becomes about the person's intention. It's like, okay, it's okay. Great, you didn't intend, but it did have this effect. So we still have to deal with the effect it had on someone, and we should care about that. You know, just as much as we care about that you didn't intend it, we also need to care about how it affected the other person and made them feel. And but I think today too, like, well, some people are just too sensitive to, and I'm like, I don't think so. But I also see the pendulum of, there was a time, our generation and before that, where it was people like, there was no sensitivity. It was just all about like, just suck it up and be tough, and, you know, and then, you know, and the pendulum does swing where it can be where then people are very, very sensitive. But, you know, where we really want to be is in that middle. And I think that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
That what is said and how it affects the other person both matter. And we should care about that.
And yet there are people who I would, I guess, disagree a little bit, because there are people that I can think of just off the top of my head who are so sensitive that they take everything personally.
Yeah.
You know, if I say, oh, wow, I love Logan's shirt, then someone else might be like, oh, she must hate my shirt. Well, no.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about you. It's not about you. And there are people who take everything personally.
Yeah.
And so I guess in that way, that's not necessarily who we're talking about.
Right.
But those people do exist.
So maybe not, what's the word that we were saying? Maybe not sensitive.
The sensitivity.
But offended. Offended maybe is a different word, because sensitive, I think we need more sensitive people in
Sensitivity,
the world. Yeah, I think that's a good thing. So
But the
maybe
idea
offensive.
of what Kristin was saying about taking it personally, not everything that is said or is necessarily about you.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not direct to you, so it's not personal. So it's just, and some of that is, you know, that's learning.
Yeah.
Learning what is and what isn't. And also maybe that can come from even some self-centeredness, thinking that everything that is said is about you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
self-centeredness and also just a complete lack of confidence in themselves to even be able to separate what is said about someone else to what applies to them.
To them personally.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What was that Martin Short character? Do you remember him on Saturday Night Live? And it was like somebody would say, I don't know, like, you're looking good today or something. I know I'm looking good. Why don't you think I'm looking good? I know that I look good. Why don't you? I mean, do you remember that one? Was it Stuart Smalley, I think? It was some name, but every time that they would say that, he would go, like,
Martin Short.
I can't remember. Like,
So funny.
Did you think about that? Of course I thought about that. Why wouldn't I have thought about that? I thought about that. Why did you think I didn't think about that? It was so funny. And it's like kind of that same thing it makes me think of. So how does that affect you still today? Like when you walk into large groups and stuff like that, are you aware of the fact that your body language changes, or do you have to like make a self-conscious effort to be like, no, stand up straight? Like does it still affect you?
Well, I'm stubborn to a degree. With people who know me are going to be like, holy shit, she is so damn stubborn. I'm extremely stubborn. And so I kind of go the opposite way.
Yeah.
Like, well, fuck you.
Yeah.
I have good posture.
And damn good boobs. Let's just call it.
I mean, come
Yes.
on.
Yeah. This is my stuff.
So there are definitely times when...
Work what your mama
But
gave
there are
you.
definitely
Yes.
times when I will, catch a glimpse of myself, walking down the street.
Yeah.
And I'll think, oh,
Looking
I'm out
good.
there, aren't I? Or, yeah. But I definitely, like, if I'm walking into a room, I make sure that my walk is my walk.
Yes,
my
girl.
posture is my posture.
Yeah.
But that's just kind of a stubborn, rebellious, you don't know me. You can't tell me about myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I love that.
Yeah, it's interesting to think, but if that comment hadn't been made and you hadn't, would you think differently about your posture? Would you,
Well, and it's interesting because I also remember probably a couple years later, I was in high school or something, and my mom and I were at the doctor, and I was at the doctor, and my mom was in there with me, and I was just sitting on the bed thing that you sit on.
exam
and
table?
But I was sitting up, and my mom was like, "You have such amazing, beautiful posture," and so of course that then comes in, and so I don't know. I mean, yes, it does still affect me, and obviously I still remember it. But I also have the other side.
Yeah.
It's a comment that contradicts that thing that was said.
Yeah.
But then,
and she didn't even know. Like, I never told her about the
Right.
the fruit basket comment. Or,
Yeah. But you had posted on our Instagram about that comment about it takes like how many compliments to counteract the that one negative comment.
Yeah.
And I think that is fascinating and from my own experience, true.
Yeah. What were yours saying?
Yeah. I was just going to read your
please do.
your power
That's right. That's your
Here it
little friendly
is.
reminder while Anne looks it up. You
It's
can
on
find us on all of our
Instagram.
social media, Instagram, Facebook,
Instagram.
YouTube, and anywhere you can listen to a podcast. You can find us.
Shameless.
There's my plug.
It says, it takes 1,000,000 compliments to build you up and 1 insult to send it all crashing down.
Yep.
And that is true. That's a fact.
Unfortunately true.
Yeah. I mean, and we see that in our own case. But at least, I mean, Kristin, your experience, you did have that to contradict what that other person said. Yeah. And sometimes we have to do that for ourselves.
Right.
We take what someone said, something negative, and then in our own head say, wait a minute, that's, is that true? And what do I know to be true about me? I'm going to read what I had written to you. You were asking me about my example.
Yes. Please
Real life
do.
example. So when I was, I have one sibling, an older brother, and when we were growing up, one of his nicknames for me was Fat.
And we're not talking PHAT fat.
No, that was way
cool.
before. This was in the 70s.
Yeah. It was the
early
insulting
80s,
kind of fat.
But fat, F-A-T, fat. Like, and it was like, hey, fat. And it was like funny, right? I mean, he was 5 years older. He picked on me a lot. So it's just the truth. That's what happened. And I remember, yelling out to my friend and just like, Eric, leave her alone, and that was kind of the end of it. But I was like, those things it was not okay.
No.
It wasn't funny. And I think as adults, I think I brought it up once, and it was like, it was that dismissive thing.
Yep.
Oh, well, we were just kids, or, and just like move on from it rather than what I wish would have happened, which was, yeah, I'm really sorry. And then almost even making it about him, you could have, well, yeah, I was kind of a jerk, whatever. And then even blowing that off. Mm-hmm. But no, it's like, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. It was not okay. Mm-hmm. And it hurt your feelings. Mm-hmm. And that does matter.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry. And I'm sorry if that affected you after that, because now I have daughters, which he does, mm-hmm. And understand, because I think for a girl in particular, and he was, firstborn golden boy, never struggled like with his weight, or was very handsome and like, quarterback of the football team, mm-hmm. prom king, all that stuff.
Oh, how hard they fall.
So, yeah, true. But yeah, so I mean, like all of that. So already as the younger sibling and sibling to that, you feel, mm-hmm. I was different. I was quite different than him. He was sports, I was arts, so like those things can really affect you. And then when, that's your nickname really. And it created such cognitive dissonance in me mm-hmm. because I was like, wait, I'm not fat.
I'm not, yeah.
I mean, I was like, and then sometimes I was like gaslighting myself as I got older and then I'd look at pictures and I went, no, I really was not. Mm-hmm. I was like not.
Mm-hmm.
And
Did he call you that like all the way up through like high school and stuff?
I don't remember. Like, so he was 5 years older. So I was in 7th grade when he was
such
a senior in high school
time as well. That's
and then,
huge.
And then he graduated, and then I was like
Lord.
an only child for my end of junior high school.
Yeah.
Because we had moved to a new place, which was good because then I was just me and not his little sister anymore. But, but yeah, that really affected me. And body image and how I looked at myself and being confused, I think, about what was appropriate size and shape for me. And then even my mom, I remember like her, she's very chatty, gregarious woman, and like talking to friends and people, always chatting and saying like, referring to me as big boned.
What?
And like, she's big boned. And that's like, I was always the tall girl, right? Yeah. When I was growing up, I was the tall girl. Now I think I'm actually not super tall compared to, there are a lot of women that are tall, but growing up.
Shot up early.
Yeah. Yep. And so you're the tall girl, and tall for some reason, maybe it was the time period, tall meant big. I don't know why, but, yeah. And I wasn't petite for sure. But I mean,
you were just healthy and
I'm
normal
kind of long.
Sized. Yeah,
I'm like Scandinavian, Swedish and Norwegian, both sides. Like so, I'm like I have these very long limbs, and I'm tall and long arms, long legs, long face, all of that. Yeah, and I remember just like you said, it's just that it sticks. Mm-hmm. Those little things stick, and especially I think what you were saying about contradictory things, like those wouldn't have stuck as much as I'm thinking about it. If there would have been a whole bunch of other information from the same people,
right?
From my brother, from my mom, from family, if they would have then said a bunch of other really positive things about my body.
If your mom was body positive toward you.
Yes, then, in general. And then there's this one here or one there thing.
Right.
It probably just would have, like so many other things, just wouldn't even have registered, wouldn't have stuck at all. But I remember that. And you know, it was said more than once, but like, well, you know, she's big boned. And it was just like in a conversation, I just remember, am I? I think I would say that, like, am I? Mm-hmm. And even when my brother, you know, calling me fat, which is so terrible to call anybody that. But yeah, that for me, it really was a sense of cognitive dissonance of just like, am I? So then I'm like trying to think through that in my head, make sense of that as a kid, and then realizing that, yeah, it does affect me when I look in the mirror. It does affect me when I try on clothes or look at the size of the clothes, right? Like that kind of stuff. Even though my mom, like for her height, was always kind of a bigger woman, which I didn't even think anything of, and it didn't bother me care. I wouldn't have said anything about that, but like that's just so strange to me. Like where, and I do try to understand, like where were they coming from? Where did that come from? Why did they feel a need? Why did they say that? Why was that their perspective? And, you know, was their intention to harm? Probably not. Maybe for my brother, because, you know, big brothers do tend to pick on younger siblings. But yeah, like you said, you try to like, what's going on with that person that they would say that.
Yeah.
And that you have to then figure out how to just like push that stuff away. But when they are important people in your life, or when they are just some random kid, like with your daughter or with yourself, that even has impact.
Yeah.
Did the people
when
she
it's a
was saying that
stranger.
to ever say anything back? Did they ever say like, I don't think she's big boned?
No, I think it was just it was strange.
That is so strange.
Yeah, but
What a
you know,
weird thing to say.
I know.
And like randomly, I don't even know how that would come up in conversation. That's the part that I'm like, okay,
I don't know.
so odd. Oh my Lord.
But you know, that's so for me, those are one, at least two instances that I remember. And I think it's interesting as we're talking, they often seem to center around our looks and our body.
100%.
Or the way we move physically or the way we are physically.
Yep.
That's very interesting.
Well, and I think a lot of that is the ages that these were coming at us, because, you know, those are ages when that's what kids notice and that's what kids say about other kids.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Versus if it's something from when you were in high school or college or something, then it might be something different.
Well, and your era too, right? Like in the 80s, you know, there's always objectification, right? But in the 80s, even more so, you had these giant hair bands. And I remember like White Snake's Is This Love? And here's Tawny Katane, who was beautiful, slithering across, you know, the hood of this car and strutting. And it was like all this stuff, big hair, big boobs, you know, all of this. And it was objectification. And Playboy magazine.
All the boys had the posters of,
yes,
you know,
every
Cheryl
single one.
Teagues
Before that, it was
and,
Farrah Fawcett. And, you know, I mean, all of them, basically. Tits and ass. Tits, ass, and teeth. That's pretty much what it was. And if you were in the 80s, it was big hair as well that you stuck together with a can of Aquanet. So, yeah. Wow. That's crazy.
What the like standard of beauty or the standard of looking cool or hot, which I hate that, but
Yeah. Yeah.
you're so hot. Do you have a story?
I do.
Stacie?
So I have a couple too. So I like one that I would hear is "You're so good," which doesn't sound like that's a bad thing, but "you're so good" for me really made it then about like, well, then I can't ruffle feathers. I can't really speak to how I'm feeling. Because you're so good.
That's the expectation.
Yeah,
that's
it
put
was
on
like
us.
you're the oldest. You need to be
Yes.
perfect, which there's stress in being perfect in of itself, right? And it was like you take care of other people, and it also I think made it that you tolerated things that you shouldn't tolerate.
Yeah.
Both coming from people who were adults that should have been adulting and instead you were adulting to them, or then later on in life, things that you tolerated, things that I tolerated, in my marriage and things like that, because you're good. And if you're good, you're quiet. If you're good, you get along with everybody. If you're good, you don't really speak up when somebody says something that hurts you or hurts somebody else, because you don't want to not be good, because if you're not good, then you're disappointing. And that was a big thing too. It's like, instead of saying, I'm so mad, it was always, I'm so disappointed. So disappointed. I'm like, oh, I'd rather have somebody be mad than disappointed. So that was definitely one. Yeah. And then again, thinking like along the weight one as well, I was out on a very rare night in college with some friends, and we were at a bar, and I never went out just because I was working in college and everything. And we were at a bar, and we were coming back, and I was like in the best shape of my life. I mean, I was playing basketball. I was, living on a college person's diet of, I'm lucky if I get to eat a burger in between classes. And this guy bumped into me, some little, hickster from a small town. And he said, "Move it, lard ass." And I've never forgotten that, ever. Yeah. And I think about it now, like I said, I was in the best shape of my life, and I still let that moron's comment affect me, to the point where, like, it affects how I feel about my weight. It affects how I feel about my body image. It affects sex. Like all these things where I'm like, ooh, I don't want anybody to see my naked rear end. It's just, it's really super stressful. And my sperm donor's mother was very good at also being really negative. And every time I would see her, because she lived here when I was in college, and on the chances that I would see her, the first words out of her mouth always were, "You're getting so fat." Wow. Every time. Yeah. And then her daughter, my aunt, would call me up afterwards and be like, she doesn't mean that. That she says all these positive things about you when you're not around her. And I'm like,
that's just enabling somebody who's doing harm.
Yep.
It's just dickish.
You're so fat. And then when I got married the first time, my bridesmaids had short dresses that were like right at the knee. And we stopped over to see this woman. And I said to her, "Don't the girls look pretty?" And she said, "They look like whores."
Wow.
Oh my God. I want to slap this woman. Seriously.
She's dead now. But yeah, so it's like,
gross.
Okay.
Horrible.
Yeah. So it's fat and horse pretty much was it. So, how do you be good? Because then that's a whole thing, right? Like, you're so good, and then you're a lard ass. And then, it plays with what you think is good and right, and sexuality and confidence and all of those things.
Yeah.
And it puts you in a situation where I feel, for me, I was definitely more prone to attracting not the right kind of people, and people that I would allow to speak to me in not empowering or kind ways a lot of times. Or they would, through not saying things, I could tell like their body language or what they were thinking. And immediately I would go to, well, it must be because I wasn't good, or it must be because, my butt looks fat in these jeans. I mean, so stupid, right? Yeah. It's so stupid. But I still think about that. And I think about even that with my kids. I was very self-conscious with them growing up to never comment on my body in front of them. Like, I might think it when I looked in the mirror, but I never wanted to say, "Oh, I look so fat," in front of my kids. It was always like, food fuels your body. Yeah. You should eat. Eat when you're hungry. Stop eating when you're not hungry. Don't look at food as an enemy. Food is there to nourish your body. You want to be strong and healthy.
I wish I had done that. I did not.
It's not an easy thing to do.
Commented, and honestly still do.
Yeah.
About myself in front of my kids.
Yeah. And they pick it up, and I didn't, and no shame to you. It's very easy to do. But because of that, I was kind of like, how do you break that cycle of like having your kids, be comfortable in their bodies, and not wanting to be that person that says those things. But yeah, lard ass. You're so good, and you're getting fat.
Yes.
They look like whores. Woo!
Yeah. Wow. As you were telling the story, it made me think of there was a boy in, I think it was late elementary, junior high. I think it was when I lived in Pennsylvania, a small town, and he played basketball. I think my dad coached basketball at the Y, and he was on that team. And I was like one of the little cheerleaders for that team, because it was all like late elementary age kids, like 4th through 6th grade or something like that. And this boy, I think, was a year or two older than me. And I remember he referred to my nose, because I do have a prominent nose.
Me too.
That I'm totally cool
I've got
with
a
now.
prominent
That I
nose.
just
Right.
really
Bumpy, lumpy
I
nose is
accept
right.
that now about myself.
Yeah.
But like at that time, I remember he said, "Hey, ski slope," and I didn't even know what he was referring to. And then I can't even remember how like I figured it out in the moment, or he said more stuff, or someone else clued me in. I don't know. But I remember him saying that. And it's so great that I didn't think of it until just now when you were talking. And I'm just like, oh, great. 'Cause that means I don't ever think about it anymore,
Yeah.
which is so good. But I'm sure it pops up now and then. But yeah, he said ski slope. And I was just like, and then it was like about my nose. And then, then every time you look in a mirror, you're like fixated on that part of your body, right? And then you're just like, oh, my nose, it's like sticks out too much. It's too big. It's the wrong shape, whatever. And I was like, but then also, I did music theater. And then I was like, Barbara Streisand has a really great
I was just going to say that too, like with your singing and everything. Like,
and I was like,
breath control. And all
yeah,
that.
damn it. And everyone thinks she's beautiful, so I'm beautiful too.
You
I
are.
was like, but I mean, just like the fact that it's all in your, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, and it's your perspective, and, all kinds of noses are beautiful.
Yeah.
All kinds of sizes and shapes of people are beautiful.
100%.
So it's like, we have to just constantly like fight against that and those kinds of comments, negative like that.
Yeah.
That, but that would have been, that is an example of just that random person
Yep.
again.
Yep.
And now I feel like, I mean, at least like me, and I think you guys are too. You're probably nicer than I am. I know you're nicer than I am. But like the things sometimes when people say stupid things, like I can come up with a really quick retort right back at them. And I probably should just shut my mouth sometimes. But I really wish that I would have thought when that boy said that, instead of being so shocked, that I would have been like, well, hey, little dick. I mean, something along those lines, like right back at him to be like, how do you like it?
I would
Which
always
is
think
so
of things
petty.
later.
I know, but it's like, sometimes you're just like, and that wouldn't have been being good to say that, but probably would have made me feel a little bit better.
But yeah, if you can like come up with a quick clap back, like
You
ooh,
kiss your
hey.
mama with that mouth? Yeah, exactly.
Well, and
So
also,
rude.
it is the idea of like do unto others as you want them to do to you, right? The golden rule, that kind of thing. As far as like, well, you said a negative thing about me, so I'm going to say a negative thing about you.
Yeah.
Neither of them are important or true, but you made me feel bad. I'm going to make you feel bad.
I like the karma's a bitch.
We
Feel
don't
better.
promote
Karma.
that. We don't
don't.
promote that. But
We like to think that we
it
have
can
evolved.
feel good
It
to
can.
do that.
Yeah.
I was
Karma.
going to
Karma.
ask you about what you said about being good, because I also think that's like that idea of like, what is good anyway?
Well, good in my case,
But in that
was
case-
don't rock the
boat.
waves, don't
Yep.
rock the boat, don't call out the obvious.
Yeah.
Pretend that everything is good. Like
Which
when,
good is actually lying,
Oh,
too.
100%.
You're lying
Yeah.
about what's really happening,
Yep.
what's really going on to keep the peace.
Well,
Yep.
and it's also a judgment on the kind of person that you are,
Yeah.
because the opposite of good is bad. And so if someone tells you, oh, you're so good, then you're going to be like, oh my God, I can't ever be bad.
Oh, 100%.
Meaning I can
Because
never make a
that's-
mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can't disappoint people.
Because
It's
don't
good
want the judgment
grades.
of being bad.
Yeah, and I
So,
lived in
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
mostly through junior high and high school, very small towns. So, if you didn't hang out with everybody in your high school class, you knew everybody in your high school class. My college was a small college, same exact thing. And so it was very much, you get good grades, you make your family proud, you do all these things, maybe at like the own sacrifice of your mental health or your physical health and all of these things. And good meant, like you see something happening in front of you, but look over there because it's like the emperor's not wearing any clothes, right? Like I remember a friend of mine came over one day after school and my my first stepdad, had a problem with alcohol. because that's what we loved to do back then. And he would come home, and you could always tell if he was wasted because he would have the TV just blaring, and it was always playing like these Vietnam War movies. And my friend walked in, and he was like, "Oh, hey, Bill," totally not knowing that he was like wasted and drunk and obnoxious. And he said something obnoxious back to my friend, and I remember seeing my friend's face just kind of went between this thing of like shock and confusion and kind of scared. And I was like, oh, he probably just doesn't feel good. Let's just go, hang out over here, or let's just go to your house. Yeah. And it was protecting that image, right? Like everybody thought everything that goes on with your family is so great. And they didn't know behind the scenes that we were dealing with this very abusive, alcoholic, horrible individual. And yeah, I mean but that's being good. Being good is making it seem like everything is perfect. And when you make everything seem like it's perfect and you feel like that all falls on you, it's really stressful. It affects your mental health. It affects how you feel about yourself. It affects your relationships. Like I said earlier,
affects future behavior.
It accepts what you will accept and won't accept. And, for the longest time, I was like thinking, I'm really glad in some ways that I went through that because it gave me really a lot of clarity as to what I would put up with or wouldn't put up with, especially when I got married. And then, nope, history has a way of repeating itself sometimes. So, yeah, but good. You're exactly right. Good that's a word to unpack. It really is.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That sounds like a possible future episode.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Bad
What is good
and
bad mean?
and how we define those words and then how that affects us for sure.
Yeah.
So, what are, as we're nearing the end of this episode, what are some things that each of us have done to work on overcoming or ways we have already overcome those the impact of those comments? They're still there. They don't go away.
Oh, yeah.
I was talking to a friend and they about what we're going to talk about today, and he said RuPaul calls it your internal saboteur, like that voice, those negative voices, and we're talking specifically about specific incidents of negative comments that we've received from someone, from a stranger, a kid growing up, or a family member. But yeah, what are some of the ways that we combat those, that we say no and are able to, overcome it?
You want to go first?
I mean, for me, it's been, I talked about it a little bit, but it's been just being stubborn and saying, fuck that.
Yeah.
And it's also been being proud of what it was, because what he was saying about me wasn't
true.
Actually, well, it wasn't negative. It was true. I absolutely
you like
was
I
standing
had
up straight,
posture,
and that meant my boobs were sticking
and
out.
I had
and,
I had the boobs that I have,
and so the fact that when I really think about it, I'm like, okay,
could be worse.
Why did that hurt my feelings?
Made you self-conscious.
Obviously, it was an age thing, made you self-conscious.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's a good thing. I'd much rather have good posture than bad posture.
Yeah.
There's good and bad again.
Yeah.
So I guess a lot of it too is just kind of going back and looking at it like, oh, well, wait a minute. I can unpack this, and I can, take a look at what this really is and how this affects me. So
Yeah, and maybe that's part of it, unpacking it, like actually remembering the comment and like the incident that happened and thinking through it.
Yeah.
And like I like being accepting the fact, accepting these things about my body, and they're not like, they aren't the good or bad. They are, and it's great.
Yeah.
It's me, and I feel good about it, and I don't need to be embarrassed.
Yeah.
Or self-conscious about these parts of me, even if you don't like it. Like you said, fuck you. You don't like it? Fine.
Then
you know
don't
what?
look at me.
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not about you. I'm not here to
Yeah.
be on display for you. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think choosing the parameters as to how I will let someone else affect me, which takes me then from being good to potentially being seen as bitchy. But it's not being bitchy to say, like, I have limitations as to what I will or will not accept.
Boundaries.
Yeah, it's boundaries. And, working through things like that with a counselor, having your friends to talk to about it and support you is always super helpful. And really getting older and not giving a fig what other people think.
Yes.
Like standing tall on who you are and your truth. And I honestly think that's one of the best things about getting older, because you think about when you're young and you're good, or you're supposed to be doing so many things for so many people while you're still trying to figure out who you are.
Right.
Yeah.
And so to be able to be like, been there, done that. And now I choose, I'm either going to react or not react. And in my reactions, that might be that you are no longer a part of my life. And if that is something that brings me peace, and if that is something that brings me contentment, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
So it's that sense of self, and we talked about it earlier, but we talked about with Pretty Woman, when Richard Gere says to her, you could be so much more, you have so many amazing gifts. And she says, but it's so much easier to believe the bad things. Yeah. And so I would encourage anybody who's listening to us to know that those are just words. And I know that words can be incredibly painful, which is why we're talking about them today. But you are so above someone's words. Yeah. You are a living, breathing, amazing individual with a heart that beats and people that love you. And find that self-love if you don't have it. Surround yourself with people who lift you up and elevate you, and give yourself permission to remove those who don't do that to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
people that
cut them out.
People that accept and encourage you and are positive to you.
Yes.
How you feel about yourself, encouraging you to love and believe in yourself and accept yourself. Yeah, I think for me, like, journaling always helps me as a way to process through things. Like when it pops up, get it out my journal and write about it is helpful to me. Talk to others about it. Like that's what sparked this, is that just conversation that happened as we were sharing a meal. Yep. And other people feel this way too. And also, and then like the things you were just saying those to myself. Oh, absolutely. Self-affirmations, and learning to just love my body, love all the things about me that make me me.
Yeah, all the pieces, good and bad.
And we're not talking about thinking you're so great, not arrogance or anything like that, but that really beautiful kind of being proud of yourself that you can have with humility. And just this is something that's unique about me. My nose is unique about me.
Yeah, there's only one you.
And is a part of me. Yeah. And the size and shape of my body, even through, especially as women, and we have all had children too, in all the phases and sizes and shapes of our body along the way through the seasons of our life, and being able to still love and accept ourselves and think that we're beautiful.
Yeah, give yourself grace.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Give yourself grace.
All right, ladies.
Well, beautiful people.
I think we've hit it.
We want to encourage people again to go on those socials. We've already had some people sharing.
Yes, so we're excited to share
stories
those for our next little episode. But yes, please, if you haven't done that, go on to our socials. We'd love to hear things that have stuck with you, good and bad. And like we say every week, remember, each of you have that power within you. So just remember to own your power, to find that posse of yours, find those friends who elevate, lift you, support you, love you. Yeah. And if you don't have one yet, remember, you have always got us.
That's right. And don't forget to subscribe. Share this with your posse, your friends. Check out the show notes for resources, links, and ways to connect. And be sure to leave us a rating or review on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you might be listening, because it helps more badass women find us.
Absolutely. Jinx.
Slug bug.
Jinx, you owe me a coat. Isn't that what we're supposed to say? This episode was produced by Logan Schultz and Upload Media Group. Thank you, Logan.
Thank you, Logan.
You can learn more about Upload Media Group at uploadmediagroup.com. Whoop, whoop. And again, to our listeners, remember to always sparkle. And we can't wait to be with you next time on the Power Posse Podcast.
Woo!
Woo! Love you.
Bye, y'all.